Fable 1 is the best Fable out of the Fable series. It has the best villain, the best story, and the best gameplay. Just to give you an idea of how old the game is, and by extension how old I am since I grew up with these games, is that Fable first made its debut back in September of 2004. So keep that in mind. Now all the Fable games have a similar story. To put it simply, they're revenge stories. Something bad happens to you at the beginning of the game, and then you spend the rest of the game building up to a final confrontation. Now, while all the games share this revenge story aspect, only Fable 1 did it the best. The characters were more interesting and more likable, and the game set up the atmosphere so much better than the sequels did. I think the biggest problem with the sequels was its jump forward in time. Going from a medieval fantasy type vibe to a more modern era with guns and whatnot made the fantasy elements lose a little bit of its luster. The game's changes to the magic system in general also didn't help, but I'll get to that later. Now, as for the villains, Fable 1 has Jack of Blades, and he is a badass. He murders your entire family. He's got a cool red cloak and a creepy mask, and he turns into a fucking dragon. So who was the bad guy in Fable 2? He missed his family and shit and blah blah blah. He wasn't intimidating or interesting, he was completely fucking forgettable. I already forgot about him. In Fable 3, who was the bad guy? The Scarecrow mixed with Venom? A couple of issues that I have with this guy. One, apparently he's been around for a long time. He's really old, but we haven't heard mention of him in Fable 1 or Fable 2. So, for him to show up in this game with no explanation or anything just seemed kind of weird. Not to mention, he didn't even show up in his own game until the third act. The other problem I have with him is the fact that when you finally do have your final confrontation with him, he goes down like a little bitch. Now, little things that annoy me about Fable 2. Have you ever noticed that when you run in Fable 2, whether you're running around on dirt, grass, or cobblestone, that it feels like you're running on ice? It is so damn annoying. You're running down the road, you go to turn left, and your character goes flying into the fucking wall. He gets all caught up on the environment and shit. Ugh, it's just so fucking annoying. Another thing that annoys me about Fable 2, and going on into Fable 3, have you ever opened a chest in Fable 2? What did you find inside? Was it a cool weapon? Maybe a rare outfit? No? What was that? You got 120 gold? You can easily make 120 gold with a job in town. What I'm getting at here is that Fable 1, every chest that you open had something valuable inside. Not just like valuable, but powerful, something interesting, whether it was a weapon, an outfit, or something else, a potion. Fable 1, every chest that you open in that game had something good inside. Fable 2, they start throwing gold, or condoms, or some random junk in the chests. It makes opening chests completely pointless and not non-exciting. It's like there's no point to it. You don't even care. Fable 2, however, did improve on a couple of things, in particular, the expressions. In Fable 2, you have the expression wheel. It made it easy and fun to interact with the NPCs. But for some reason, Fable 3 got rid of this. Instead of choosing your expressions, the game chooses one randomly for you. Now, because of this, it makes interacting with NPCs feel less engaging, less fun, and a whole lot more fucking annoying. The economy system in Fable 2 was kick-ass. You made money even when you weren't playing. Every 5 minutes, you made income. Now that is cool. You log off for a few days, and when you came back, you just had a shit ton of cash just waiting for you. But, again, Fable 3 got rid of this. It seems to me like the biggest problem with Fable 3 is that they've never heard of that saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, because, for instance, there's no goddamn pause button in Fable 3. In Fable 3, you can't actually pause the game. When you push the start button, you get teleported to a room with all your shit in it. I mean, cool, I guess. It's just more annoying than anything else. I think they were trying to be clever, or they made up some stupid excuse about how no one likes going through menus to get to their inventory. But this system that they put in place of that made it 10 times more annoying, and it made it 10 times more cumbersome. Having to teleport to a room, walk into the next room to get your stuff, and then trying to interact with other people and so on, trying to gift gifts to other players. It made it completely impossible and completely fucking just so many steps, so many hoops to have to jump through to do the simplest of things because of this gameplay mechanic change that they decided to implement into the third fucking game in the series. They didn't need to do that. I don't know why they did it. It makes no sense. Another thing about Fable 3 that really irks me, really grinds my gears, is the fact that you can't play as a bad guy. The beginning of the game, and pretty much the whole fucking game, all the way up until the very end, forces you to play as a good guy. Like, for example, at the beginning of Fable 3, you have to help the village of Brightwall. Now, in order to do this, you have to earn renown. Usually you can earn renown by completing quests, or defeating bad guys, and so on. But an alternate way that you can earn renown is by killing innocent people. You can go into the town and kill every single person in town. And then you can kill all the guards. And again, you earn renown for all of that. So by the time you get enough renown, you still become the hero of Brightwall. So, just picture this for a second. You go into town and you murder every living motherfucker walking around the streets. You kill everyone. And then you earn enough renown, and suddenly you're back in town, and there's a big crowd of people, and they're all cheering your name. And they're all calling you the hero of Brightwall. Oh, you're such a hero. And the only question I have at that particular moment is, where the fuck did you all come from? I thought I killed everyone. It makes no sense. The only thing that Fable 3 did do right was the co-op. Whether you're playing online or you're playing with a friend on your couch, the co-op in Fable 3 is actually really fun. And it's a huge improvement over the bullshit that was in Fable 2. Fable 2 was just fucking god-awful when it came to their co-op. I mean, you can get married, you can have kids, and you can start business partnerships too with other players in Fable 3. It's probably the only fucking reason to even bother with Fable 3. Another reason why Fable 1 is the best out of the series is because of its combat system. Fable 1 had everything pretty much perfect, and the magic in Fable 1 was amazing. It had 20 plus spells that all accommodated for various different playstyles, ranging from defensive spells to support spells and attack spells. Now, Fable 2's magic was just holding a button, and that's it. You hold the B button and you let go of the B button. That's it. They completely took out all of the spells, and now they're all attack spells. Some of them. But they all function in the same way. You charge the spell, and then you release it. What the fuck were they thinking? Fable 3 only made things even worse. Fable 3, for some reason, only has 4 weapon types. It has a sword, hammer, a pistol, and rifle. Now, I thought the whole fucking point of a sequel was to add more content, not take it away. The weapons were supposed to change depending on your actions, but they all end up looking the same. And the magic system that's carried over from Fable 2 just added a new gimmick of combining spells. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because the combat system was broken. The guns were so overpowered that you just pretty much ran around the whole game shooting stuff. Another thing that made Fable 1 better was the fact that it had a mini-map. Fable 2 and 3 have some stupid thing in place called a breadcrumb trail. Basically, it's just a glowing trail that you follow from point A to point B. And it's fucking stupid. Half the time you get lost, and when you're not getting lost, the breadcrumb trail just doesn't work. It barely works. It's the breadcrumb trail from Fable 2, the sanctuary from Fable 3, and so on. It just seems like a reoccurring theme for the Fable series. They seem to want to take things that work just fine in previous titles and make them worse. I really wish that they would have just focused on what made Fable fun and improved on those aspects, instead of just coming up with these half-assed game mechanics that don't work. Some of the problems that all of the Fable games have is the amount of content in each game and the final boss fights. Every game in the series falls a bit flat when it comes to their final boss. Fable 1 and Fable the Lost Chapters are games in the series that came close to having a decent final boss. Fable 2 doesn't even have a final boss, and Fable 3's boss fight is way too easy. Now, once you beat a Fable game, there isn't really anything to do anymore. If you've done all of the quests, you've talked to everyone, and you've collected everything, then there's only one thing left to do. Start over. Fable, it's not like Skyrim. You can't sink in over 200 hours into one play session. Yeah, the Fable series it isn't perfect, but Fable 1 is the best out of the three. Fable 2 is a good game, but there's too many things holding it back, and Fable 3 is just a big pile of shit, but it has good co-op, so, you don't have to eat shit alone. So, overall, what can I say about the Fable series? It has potential, but that potential is buried underneath dumb ideas and weird game mechanics. The series seems to do this thing where it tried too many new things in each sequel, and it ended up falling flat on its face. Instead, they should have just been focusing on taking what was fun from the previous games and making those features more prominent and developed in the sequels. If they would have just focused on making a good game instead of reinventing the wheel, then they probably would have made some great games. I can only hope that Fable 4 learns from the past and gives the series some new life. So, which Fable game in your opinion is your favorite and why? Mine is and always will be Fable 1.